Good afternoon, Magistrate Lawyer. This is Detective Henry.
Hi, Detective. How are you today?
I'm well, sir, and you?
Doing pretty good. You sent over 3?
Yes, sir.
All right. First one is 8223-712-951, State of Michigan versus Tawanza Brown. Your name for the record.
Detective LaKenya Henry, badge D3582, and I'm with the Detroit Police Department Domestic Violence Unit.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll provide in this matter will be true?
Yes, sir.
And are you testifying from personal knowledge or from an investigative report?
An investigator's report that was authored by Detective Devon Payton.
Thank you. Feel free to proceed.
Yes, sir. Now this one is pretty lengthy. Sir, I don't know if you noticed the investigator's report is 3 pages long. So I'll do my best to get the elements.
Okay.
On June 14th, 2023, at 675 Seward at approximately 3:05 a.m., Tawanza Brown, the defendant, and the complainant James Ashley have a child or children in common. On the above date time, Scout 32 was dispatched to the location for a shooting/cutting. Upon Scout's arrival, officers were notified by the 3rd Precinct that the victim, James Ashley, was armed with a shotgun on the first floor in the main lobby. Scout entered the location with other responding units and made their way to apartment 402 and attempted to make contact with the victim with negative results. Officers then advised dispatch that a female caller stated that the victim was in apartment 301. Scout made apartment 301 observe the victim with a gunshot wound to his right upper back. Victim told officers his baby mama shot him and her name is Tawanza Brown. Medic 53 made the location, transported the victim to Henry Ford Hospital for medical treatment. The victim was listed intense serious by Dr. Edwards. Victim was shot 3 times, once in the upper right side of his back and 2 times in his right leg. Scout 372 made the location to assist Scout 32 and talk to witness Fernando Peace, who worked security. Witness stated that he was parked in the parking lot when the incident occurred. He stated he heard the altercation between one black male and possibly another male. Witness stated he heard approximately 2 shots fired, then a black male walking to the parking lot carrying a black bag. Scout 33 made the location to assist Scout 32. Officers canvassed the stairwell of the apartment complex and observed a blue blanket that appeared to have a long object wrapped inside of it in the west stairwell. Officers felt the blanket and it appeared to be the butt stock of the shotgun. Officers then unwrapped the blanket and observed a black shotgun, unknown make and model inside. Officers stood by with the gun waiting for evidence to check. Hold on. Might as well read this because I don't know how much of it is important. Officer Magoob, who was working at the desk of the 3rd Precinct, was monitoring Central District and heard a police run come out for a shooting cutting. Officer Magoob began monitoring the green light cameras at 675 Seward. He observed a black male shirtless wearing tan black and white shoes at approximately 3:10 a.m. The officer observed the black male carrying a black shotgun into the elevator at 675 Seward. Officer then notified dispatch and gave a description via radio to advise responding unit about a black male being armed. Officer reviewed the green light at 675 Seward Rear Lot 2 at approximately 3:03 a.m. and observed the victim entering the rear door of the new Center Square building. Officer observed a silver in color SUV drive toward the victim with the headlights off and then stop briefly near the victim. Officers observed the victim on 675 Seward backdoor camera run west in the parking lot of 8045 2nd and the silver SUV flee toward 2nd Avenue. The officer observed the victim, again, backdoor camera carrying a blue blanket, which he unwrapped and revealed the black in color shotgun. The victim left the camera site at 3:08, at which time the victim appeared again at 675 Seward main entrance and the elevator camera, shirtless, carrying the shotgun. Witness 2 states, which is Deandra Matthew, state that the victim came to her apartment 301 at 3:30 a.m. knocking on the door saying he was shot. Witness 2 stated victim told her he was shot by the defendant, Tawanza Brown. Victim 2 stated after she confirmed the victim was shot, she observed a hole in his back and the upper right side. Witness 2 then called 911 for the ambulance. Witness 3, which is Frederick Meadows, stated he heard 2 gunshots and someone knocking on his door, which is apartment 404. Witness 3 stated when he opened the door, it was the victim, stated he had been shot and he was scared that the person who did it would come back. Witness 3 stated the victim asked him to apply pressure to his back where he had been shot. Witness 3 also called 911 for police assistance. On June 14th at approximately 9:14 a.m., Detective Payton of the Domestic Violence Unit submitted an exigent ping request through T-Mobile on the defendant Tawaga Brown phone number listed as 313-744-1476. The defendant's phone pinged to 14151 Frankfurt every 10 minutes. Detective Donald Upshaw and Sergeant Roger Tucker stood by in the area of 14151 Frankfurt as Detective Payton gave updates on the ping. Detective Payton went to Henry Ford Hospital and talked to the victim, who stated he was shot by the defendant. The victim stated he and the defendant had an argument about $500 she stole along with keys to his car. The victim stated the defendant was trying to take his life and fired shots, striking him in the leg and back. The victim stated the defendant was driving his gray 2013 Jeep Cherokee bearing Michigan plate ERY0782. The victim stated the defendant was trying to shoot him in the head. The victim informed Detective Payton that the defendant resides on the east side of Detroit on Frankfurt Street corner house. Detective Payton prepared a search warrant to enter 14151 Frankfurt, while preparing a warrant, the defendant's attorney, Mark Larkin, contacted Sergeant Tucker via phone, requesting him and Detective Upshaw clear the location so the defendant can meet him at his office, and he will make sure that the defendant turns herself in at 3 p.m. Sergeant Tucker advised Mark Larkin that the warrant was being prepared and advised the defendant to exit the location and turn herself in. Approximately 45 minutes after Sergeant Tucker spoke with the attorney, the defendant exited 14151 Frankfurt with a black bag containing a Smith & Wesson M&P bodyguard 380 serial number bearing KHX7618, and it was placed on evidence tag 698547-10. Scout 972 made the location, assisting officers for a female pat-down. The defendant was arrested and conveyed to the Detroit Detention Center by Scout 51. Search warrant was not executed. That will conclude my testimony on this matter.
Thank you. I do find probable cause to sign the warrant. Thank you. And ma'am, your name for the record, please. Thank you. This will be case 23-057422, State of Michigan versus Tawanza Brown. Counsel.
Thank you. Mark Lakin, P41147, on behalf of defendant Tawanza Brown.
Thank you. And do you waive formal reading?
We do. We waive formal reading and she'll stand mute.
Thank you. Court will enter a not guilty plea on your client's behalf. As to bond, please.
As to bond, Your Honor, I'm going to make a very unusual request, and I'm glad I was listening to the swear to, because sometimes good police work helps out. The defendant is 40 years old, works as a security officer, has absolutely no prior criminal history, and has reason to carry a handgun, which, as the report, the swear to said, he made safe by putting it into a bag with arrangements to walk out and be arrested and turn over the handgun so they could analyze that gun. So obviously very cooperative, but even more troubling is the report of the man who she is alleged to have shot is carrying around a shotgun into an elevator, into a building. And I can't think of any possible reason why somebody would do that at 3 a.m., but to do harm to my client. So it's a self-defense case. It's an excellent case. I'm going to make, given her history, given the fact that she immediately retained counsel, as you hear, and she cooperated I'm going to ask for a personal bond in this matter. I think it's appropriate. I know she doesn't have the means to post any large bond, and I certainly don't want her sitting there with a self-defense case with an excellent case for self-defense. I don't want to have her sitting there. So I'm going to make that unusual pitch, understanding the seriousness of the case, and I can assure you that she will be fully compliant, show up to court with her retained counsel, and not ever contact the victim, which there's no reason that she would even want to do that.
Thank you, counsel. I do appreciate that she appeared to be relatively cooperative in terms of turning herself over to the police. Obviously, she retained you at a very early stage in this, but I've also got a complainant with at least one extra hole in his back, of all places, which would cast some shadow on that self-defense concept. So here's what we're going to do. Ma'am, while this case is pending, you are not to possess a gun or any other dangerous weapon. You have no contact with Mr. Ashley whatsoever for any reason. Counsel, you indicated she works security. Does she carry that gun as part of her employment, or?
She works for, I believe, Seashell Security, and I believe she does sometimes use the gun, but she will agree during the pendency of this case to not possess any weapon. That should be understood.
Thank you. Counsel, I'm not inclined to do a personal bond. Is there any number you want to sell me on?
10,000, 10%.
Court will set bond at 50,000, 50,000, 10%. And court dates will be probable cause conference June 26th, preliminary exam July the 3rd. And counsel, is that bond affordable or unaffordable?
It's unaffordable.
All right, there'll be a bond redetermination hearing on, these will go Tuesday, right?
I'm sorry, yeah.
Could I just ask her whether, ma'am, do you think you could go through a bondsman? Do you think that's possible? That you'll be able to post that bond through a bondsman? It's $5,000 basically they'll have to put down.
All I have is a car I can probably put up for that.
Through a bondsman? All right, so I think we're okay with the bond then, Your Honor.
Okay, I have to give you a date nonetheless as a result of the ACLU settlement. So we'll set a the 21st. Okay, bond redetermination hearing on 6/21 in front of Chief Judge McConico. If she posts by then there's no need to attend that hearing. And then, but if she's still in, he'll look at her bond on 6/21. And again, probable cause is on 6/26. Exam is on 7/3. Those two hearings are in front of Judge King. Anything else for the record, counsel?
We appreciate you. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Have a great day.